It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to the to the show that we're doing right now.
Following the local teams, breaking down the biggest games with in-depth analysis and team interviews.
There's going to be much higher expectations, sense of awareness of what we bring to the table.
Join the show by calling into 435-752-1069 or text 435-339-0321. It's the Full Court Press.
Rose, and yes! Caught! Touchdown! They did it!
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome on into hour number 2 of the Full Court Press. Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker talking about a lot of different things going on in sports, recapping the weekend that was and a busy week for this week. Conference realignment continues to be a very hot topic, big discussion. Apparently, the presidents of the Atlantic Coast Conference and the athletic directors of the Atlantic Coast Conference are in discussions today about potentially adding Cal and Stanford, which are on the Pacific Coast, to their Atlantic Coast Conference. And there's not much in between. But what does that mean for the future of the Mountain West and Utah State? It continues to be a more, I guess, nerve-wracking time period if you're Oregon State and Washington State, because no one seems to be talking about you. But certainly, look, you have to consider Oregon State's director of athletics played basketball at Fresno State, was an AD at USU for several years, and definitely knows the lay of the land and understands what the Mountain West is all about. So that could be a real ally in place there. But you have to remember, institutions like Oregon State, Washington State, they have relied heavily on conference payouts from media deals, bowl games, NCAA tournament unit payouts to heavily fund their athletic departments. Much of that's going to go away if they come to the Mountain West and join the Mountain West Conference. So they've got some really, really tough decisions to make. But no matter what, I think Utah State is well positioned that they shouldn't have to worry too much about their standings. We'll also be talking to Ryan Visser, head coach of the Mountain Crest Mustangs. Last week, we had a chance to learn more about Logan High and Skyview with high school football beginning this Friday. Later on this hour, we'll also hear from Joe Cauthen and Kyle Cefalo, coordinators for Utah State, as their fall camp is underway. So a lot of different topics on the show today. And as always, if you want to chime in, we'd love to hear from you on our Full Court Press text line, 435-339-0321. So busy weekend, a lot going on. But one of the things that's kind of fun to highlight this time of year, Jason, are just talking to the high school football coaches. Their camps are definitely underway. They're preparing for game number 1, which begins on Friday. And you had a chance to speak with Coach Howell. You and I had a chance to speak with Coach Carson Mund last week. And next on our list is Mountain Crest head coach.
Yep.
And so we had a chance to catch up with Coach Ryan Visser earlier today and get a nice sense for what his program looks like and how he's getting ready for year 2 after really kind of exploding on the scene last year with a great season at the helm of the Mountain Crest Mustangs.
It's football season. We've been doing a few of these interviews with Region 11 football head coaches, had a couple on already. Glad to have another coach here on with us, the Mountain Crest head football coach, Ryan Visser, and also the Cache Valley Media Group Coach of the Year last year. So certainly led a bit of a turnaround with Mountain Crest. I think they went 2-9 the year before you got here. Went 8-5 last year, so not a bad turnaround there. So welcome on to the show. Glad we could have you here.
Thanks for having us again, guys. And yeah, it was a really fun year last year. We're excited to get rolling again.
I guess it's hard for you to know exactly how things turn around because obviously you weren't involved with the year before, but like I guess in your mind, seeing the team in the offseason and obviously seeing the team last year, like what do you feel like helped lead to that, turnaround?
I've said it a lot. I think it was just a really, really good special group of seniors. I don't think once we had anyone be like, man, this is how we used to do it, or why are we doing it like this? Like, they immediately bought in. And from day one, it's just like, what do we need to do to get rolling? And they were, a talented group too. So they were talented and very coachable. And yeah, when you have kids that work hard and good staff that is coaching the right way, things happen. But obviously also, to be frank, some of these football games, they definitely could go either way. This region's very competitive, so, we had some dogfights last year and expect that this year. But, yeah, it was a really good group of seniors, and they kind of taught the way and led by example of how to do it for these younger classmen this coming year.
And that, obviously is a part of any high school coach's process you have to go through, where you have a senior class and their leadership, and then they leave. You're always replacing and reloading. But you did have some underclassmen who played significant roles, and now they're stepping into larger roles for not just on the field, but also responsibility that you're placing on them. How's that transition happened so far?
Yeah, I would say that is a bit more of a learning curve. Not everyone is a natural leader. And even though, like you're saying, some of these guys were at, some all-state players back, sometimes, that natural leadership isn't there. And you do have to coach it. You have to, kind of go through the steps of, like, this is what your teammates are looking for. This is what you're showing. And they're learning, and they are talented. We return about half our starters, offense, defense. So the cupboard definitely is not bare. And, yeah, but that is something that we've been encouraging, and they've grown a lot in the last 5 months as far as some of those juniors, stepping up and being leaders.
So there's going to be plenty of guys stepping into, obviously not just starting roles, but bigger starting roles. Because you mentioned, you turn half of the starters, but a lot of those guys you lost were like all-region, all-state guys.
Mm-hmm.
I guess who are some of the guys to pay attention to who are looking to either step into big starting roles or were starters and will take on a bit more responsibility?
Well, those, again, guys that are coming back, obviously a lot more is going to be put on their shoulders. Will DeCorver, I think it was the all-conference offensive player of the year, was all-state. Should have been all-state offense and defense, in my opinion. Great player. And obviously he was an unknown last year, and he won't be an unknown this year. He'll be one of those guys that people have a target on his back and just know where he's at all times. So he's definitely got to improve. Casey Cross, obviously the quarterback, is always a position that it needs to always improve and needs to always continue to get better. And I feel like Casey had a crazy growth throughout the season. And by the end of the year, he was playing some dang good football. So if we have Casey just keep growing and maturing like he has been, like, he's going to have a really good senior year, and he's going to be relied on to do that. A couple on the defensive side that are coming back and need to have bigger roles and really lead. Dax Benson was all-state linebacker, and we lose a really good linebacker and Carson Olson, so he's got to really take over that linebacking position and lead those guys. And another fellow linebacker, Karsten Butters, he started last year as well, and he'll be looked at to improve a lot. And then Porter Kennington is our only defensive lineman that's coming back, and he was all-state as well, and he's definitely going to need to teach and show the three younger guys that are going to be around him the ropes and how to do things. So those are just a few of the guys that played a lot last year, started last year, but are obviously going to be in more pivotal roles even more so this year. A couple new guys just for they've played but maybe not as featured roles as last year. Jackie Bitton, he started at safety last year. He's now moved to corner, and he'll play a lot of offense. He's got some incredible talent and incredible speed, and he'll be featured a lot more this season. And then, our line is pretty new, our offensive line. Xander Miller is our only returning starter of that offensive line, which, in my opinion, usually sets the tone for the team and sets the tone for the game. So we're really looking at Xander to lead that group and to help those younger guys really get up to varsity speed really quick. So those are just a few of the names we're expecting big things from.
How's the health of your team coming into the start of the season?
That's a bit of a bummer. Last year we really lucked out. We had some injuries, but nothing bad. We've got the injury bug a little bit already this year. Thatcher Phelps is an incredible player, played both ways last year. Hurt his knee, MCL. Hopefully get him back soon, but he'll miss some games. Porter Johnson, another one of our kids that will be starting at corner. All my years of coaching and playing football, I've never heard of a broken scapula before. I don't know how he did it, but broke his shoulder blade, and so he'll be out for a while, and a few more nicks and bruises. But so overall, we're definitely a little bit more nicked up than we were last year. But hey, it's football. Like, everyone understands it, and it's kind of next man up mentality, and that's why we really work hard on getting some good depth and getting these second and third guys in, and all summer we don't name starters, so we're just developing kids, and so it's just next man up kind of mentality. And luckily, so far, nothing season ending injuries wise, and you just cross your fingers every time we go out there, because man, especially for like the seniors, you would hate for that to be the end of their high school career, and just you want everyone to at least go out there and just have fun playing ball with their buddies. So we're gonna knock on wood and hopefully no more injuries the rest of the way out.
So you guys kind of talking last year to this year, I guess just you personally, like as a head coach. Last year was your first year at Mountain Crest. Now you've got a year under your belt, another off season where you got some experiences. How has that been for you this off season?
Oh, I've loved it. I think I always say, I know it's cliche, in a season usually your most improvement is from week 1 to week 2. I think most coaches agree on that. And I think for coaching, I would say the same thing. The most improvements usually from year 1 to year 2. You get a full off season. You get a full chance to really embrace the community, to embrace the school, get to know everyone. And so, last year when I arrived in late May, early June, basically, it's just drinking from a fire hydrant and just we're going. Season's starting in a couple months. This year it's been a lot more of you feel a lot more comfortable and able to take a breath and kind of look around, but it's been awesome. The community's been great. I love the Mountain Crest community. Love Cache Valley. As I said last year, I'm just really glad to be back. Prodigal son returning back to the valley. So I still live in Preston, so I make that drive every day.
Oof.
And I get to see the beautiful valley every morning from the north to the south, and yeah, we love it. So definitely a lot of advantages to year 2, in my opinion, as a coach.
Normally, high school football, Friday nights at 7 o'clock.
Yep.
That's not always going to be the case for you.
Nope.
You've got a couple of unique games on your schedule.
Yeah.
An opportunity to play on Merlin Olsen Field, which is awesome, and a Thursday night game coming up a little bit later on with the big rivalry game. Let's start with the game at Merlin Olsen Field. When you were at Preston before, did you have a chance to go up there?
No, never. They did some of the, I forgot what they used to call them, Rocky Mountain Rumbles, but some of them were usually just we meet at a mutual kind of neutral field, or we played at, our big one was we went to Holt Arena up in Pocatello. That was kind of our cool neutral field where we'd play games. So I think they started doing that yearly after I graduated. So I never played on it as high school, and I know a lot of our kids are really excited to do that. Not to be, again, cliche, we're obviously taking it 1 week at a time, and we're focused on Hurricane this week. But I know, that's a game a lot of the kids got circled just because, yeah, it is a really cool opportunity to play on a college field that a lot of these kids obviously have grown up going to those games and watching, some of their Aggie idols play on it, and I know that'll be a fun experience.
And I guess the game at Ridgeland's also Thursday. I guess, how big is that rivalry for these kids?
It's big. I think, obviously not growing up in it, even though it's not that old, but not being from, Ridgeline or Mountain Crest, I knew of the history, but, I didn't live it. And I think from an outsider's point of view, it's calmed down a little bit. I think those first few years when it was, very recent was pretty hostile. It's still a huge game, and these kids definitely know each other and see each other all the time. And, to be frank, a lot of the Ridgeline parents went to Mountain Crest. So there's still a lot of connections, and it means a lot. But, there's no, I would say, bad feelings or, hostile. Heck, we scrimmaged Ridgeline a few weeks ago. I'm like, hey, we're 2 miles away from each other. We should probably use each other a little bit more. So, I think at least as a coaching staff-wise, coaching staff to coaching staff, it's a game. It's an important game, but, it's not the maybe as hostile as it was a few years ago.
That's probably okay. Again, we're talking to Ryan Visser. He's the head coach for the Mountain Crest Mustangs, and we're talking about the schedule. And let me just stay on that for one more second. Your philosophy, I think we asked you this last year, but just in putting your non-region schedule together, some of these games are, you played there, and we're going to return the favor and things like that. But putting that schedule together for your team, what do you see in this year's non-region schedule for you?
I think it's good. It's competitive. And, yeah, a couple of those games I kind of inherited as far as home and away still. But as a whole, I'm very happy with it. As you guys know, there were some shakeups at the state level with classifications, so there's a lot more 4As, which I'm very excited for. I think it's a fun mix-up, and maybe we won't have to go to St. George 3 times this year. So I like it. And I think it's a very competitive non-region. Because of that shakeup, we had to lose a couple of the schools we had last year because their regions have gotten bigger. So I had to grab a couple Idaho schools back to my old stomping grounds of where I have connections. I was able to get Pocatello and Menico, and they're very good programs that have done very well in Idaho the last decade or so. So they'll be good games.
So, bring up, Ridgeland, that's obviously one of the big games, but also Skyview, like those two are they've been running the region for a few years.
100%.
And you guys were, right behind them. Your only 2 losses in the region were to those 2 guys. So you've obviously made the first turnaround, which is, get the winning record, be competitive in region. Now there's another step for this team, chasing 2 of the region powerhouses. Like what'll help you guys make that next step to be, competitive and challenge for a region title?
Well, one of the things I really believe in, I know, again, cliche, is I believe in player-led programs, not coach-led. And so I put it on the boys, our captains. I said, what do you guys think? What are your goals? You guys talk about it. And it could be as simple as we just want to have fun this year and have a good time, or it can be as complex as you'd like. And they came back, and their number one they had is win region. And I think if you win region here, that puts you in a really good spot for state, obviously. So that's their goal. And they know, that we're close. And a couple of those games last year, if you were there in person and watched it, they really did hinge on 1 or 2 plays that really flipped the game or kind of sealed the game. So we were very competitive last year with both Ridgeline and Skyview, and they were very good teams, very very well coached teams. And they have that history, and to be frank, they have that kind of mojo with them where I know they graduate some guys, but it just doesn't matter. They're going to reload and be good and be competitive. So that is kind of the next step. But to be honest, this is going to be a good region. I think Bear River's going to be very, very much improved this year. And I know Green Canyon and Logan have new coaches, but just I've seen those guys around the summer, and they're going to be competitive as well. So it's going to be a competitive region, and there's definitely no gimmies. And, everyone is chasing Ridgeline and Skyview. They were ranked preseason again, 1 and 2. But I think kind of like last year, this could be a region where anyone could beat anyone on any Friday.
Coach, you kind of mentioned changes. Any changes on your coaching staff or changes in structurally how your team will look on the field? Sometimes a coach will change and tweak some kind of an offensive or defensive philosophy just based on the personnel he has available to him.
100%. I agree with that 100%. We don't have this is what we run on offense or defense. We look at our guys in the spring and early summer and say, all right, what are we good at? And whatever they're good at, that's what we're going to do. And, not to give away too many state secrets before our first game in case Hurricane's listening, but it's pretty similar. We got similar, again, talent, similar guys in spots. As far as coaching staff, I had an awesome staff last year. It was great. It is really hard. I did my best to vet guys and to listen and do my best to put together staff. But again, I had that done in a matter of a month of being on the job, and you don't know till Friday nights how it's sometimes going to go. But I think, to be frank, I lucked out. We had a great staff, and a vast majority of them have come back. As you guys know, coaching in high school pays the big bucks. So unfortunately, some of those guys, just life happens and are unable to help out as much this year or have to step away.
You lost your offensive line guy.
Yep. Mark Weber got called back to the college ranks. He's not too far away. He's up at Idaho State, so it'll be good to see him when they come back down and play the Aggies, actually. But as a whole, our staff's pretty much the same. We did change a little bit of responsibility-wise. Last year I was the OC and head coach, and it's a lot. And I wouldn't have just thrown it to anyone if I didn't feel comfortable with kind of the situation and way they were going to do things. But I do have someone else that will call the offense, so I can be a little bit more free roaming and help where I'm needed and kind of see the big picture. So that'll be a little bit different. But as far as kind of what you can expect, pretty similar offense and defensive scheme-wise from last year.
Well, it's exciting this time of year, all right? I mean, it's high school football time, and it's a long tradition of covering Mountain Crest football on our group of radio stations. Proud tradition at that school, and excited to see it kind of come back into competitive relevance. And I know you're not satisfied with that, but that's exciting. That's good.
No, 100%. And I think that was the title that the Herald Journal had for our article, was Still Hungry, and we are. We made it to the semifinals last year, and I don't think many people outside of that team thought that was even remotely a chance. But it's been really good to see that they're not satisfied and they want to get back and go to Rice Eccles stadiums this season and put another trophy in the illustrious kind of history of Mountain Crest. But again, just to emphasize, the community's been awesome. We love Mountain Crest as a whole, and to be frank, I'm very happy to be in this valley again, in this region. It's so much fun to be able to go play your away game, and it's 5 minutes down the road. That's awesome, and I really look forward to another really competitive season again.
So Mountain Crest games are on 107.7 KLZX. Our good friends Jake Ellis and John Olson will be calling those games and video streamed on CashValleyDaily.com. So, Coach Visser, thanks again for coming down and spending some time with us.
Hi, I'm Thor P. Edelstein, professor of heavy metal. And by heavy metal, I mean geology. I love rock. I'm here to remind you to keep heavy metal on the radio, not the road. Heavy metal, like trailer chains. Keep them tight. Dragging chains can start a wildfire. So can worn out tires. So keep yours maintained. The only fire on the road should be the flame decals I just put on my '98 Ford Fiesta. Keep the wild out of fire. Learn more at utahfiresense.org.
A rule of thumb is if your air ducts look dirty, they probably are. Dirty ducts should be cleaned by a certified professional like John Hansen of the Duct Hunter. In a typical 6-room home, up to 40 pounds of dust, contaminants, and air pollutants are created annually, and this builds up in the ductwork. Dirty ducts may be contributing to large health issues that can cause serious problems with people with respiratory health conditions, autoimmune disorders, or allergies. Don't risk it. Give the Duct Hunter a call, 770-4813, to clean out the dirty ducts in your home.
There's still plenty of time to get into the mountains, hunting, or your favorite campground. Fall is just around the corner. Bull Moose RV on 6th West has new inventory in stock. Bumper pulls, fifth wheels, and more. Scott and the team will help your family fulfill your RV dreams. Have an RV and need some repairs done? They have a service deal for you. Save 10% or up to $250 off any service repair. That's only at Bull Moose RV, 1850 North, 600 West. Online at bullmooseRV.com.
Check this out. This is The Herd. You're excited. I'm excited.
With Colin Cowherd.
You're looking to salvage the pick now with Zach Wilson. What you do is show them off now. Teams are going to be making all sorts of moves. And can you find a team out there that starts 3-3? They lose their quarterback. They don't necessarily think Zach is a 10-year guy, but he's got the best arm on the market.
This is The Herd. Weekdays from 10 to 1 on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan. It doesn't matter who you root for. The Full Court Press has all the high school sports covered. The Full Court Press. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and online at 1069thefan.com.
Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Great place to go get your oil changed quickly. It's clean, professional. They know what they're doing, and it's fast. They're open 7 days a week as an added bonus. So whenever it's convenient for you, go get your oil changed at 695 North Main and Logan. quick, clean, and easy, just how it should be with Valvoline Instant Oil Change. So Ryan Visser, appreciate him spending some time with us talking about his upcoming season and his football team. There have been several new coaches in Region 11 just in these last 2 seasons, last year and this year included. And Coach Visser just came right out of the scene and turned around that football program in a real hurry for Mountain Crest. Excited to see what this next year will look like for the Mustangs.
Yeah, we'll see how things go. Yeah, he did step in right away. You know, a team that had won, I think, 3 games in the previous 2 seasons combined. He walks in, and they win 8. Go to the semifinal. You know, finish 3rd in region. Their only 2 losses in region play were to the two teams that both went 4-1 in region play. So, and Mountain Crest does lose a lot of talent. I mean, mentioned in the interview, I think of the 11 players they lost, 8 were named to the first or second team of our all-region team. So they've got some impact players to replace. But I mean, he walked in and turned a team that went 2-9 into an 8-5 team. So I don't think coaching kids to be talented players is that's not something he's that's something he's good at.
He's very adept.
It's in his wheelhouse.
Yes, absolutely. So, again, football season begins this Friday, and Mountain Crest opens up against
Hurricane
coming up from Southern Utah. So those games will be on 107.7 KLZX. Jake Ellis and John Olson on the call for those games. Speaking of football, going to the next level, let's go talk about Utah State. Aggies are in camp now. Fall camp officially began on Friday. Held another practice today. Jason, you had a chance to catch up with the new defensive coordinator, Joe Cauthen. I had a chance to visit with Kyle Cefalo, who's been the wide receivers coach for USU since he came to campus a few years ago. But he has now since been elevated as co-offensive coordinator with Blake Anderson. And so for the next little bit here, we'll get some segments from these coaches just kind of talking about their teams and their roles with this new team. Just a new look defense, kind of a new look with what they're trying to do with offense as well. So it's a new era for Utah State football and a lot of new faces. In fact, that's something that's Coach Cauthen talked about a little bit about some new faces, new roles for some of the guys that are already here, playing multiple positions, called on to do multiple things. And this is a defense that could be multiple in a lot of different ways if we continue to use that term, and utilizing guys to their best of their abilities.
I'm a dual train guy. I like dual training guys. So Mike Anwar is going to play nickel. He's also going to play corner. Okay, we play with a true nickel in this defense, where they didn't do that in the past. Okay, so, but we also play with a guy that's kind of a hybrid, like they called him a striker last year. We call him a Sam. Okay, and so, but Switzer is going to play that position and boundary safety. Okay, Mike is going to play corner and nickel, and there's going to be other guys that dual train. Safety nickel, safety dime, corner nickel, Mike Sam, Will Mike. I like dual training guys because I think it makes them smarter. I think if they understand what's required of the position next to them or in front of them, then it makes them a better player than where they are. So, but it takes a process. I've only got here since March 5th, so I got a lot of new guys. It's going to take a minute to get all that done, and I'm going to move at their pace. When they can master a task, and then I will move them to start training to another position. That was big when COVID was around a couple of years ago, just because you didn't know who you were going to have, and you may have to take this guy and play him over here and so forth. So, but you're going to see some guys playing multiple roles in this defense.
So I like the idea of utilizing the speed and talent that you have and maximizing it, even if that means guys are going to get moved around a little bit. Utah State is in a position to try to develop depth. I think they have a lot of talent there, but we don't really know just how they're going to be utilized in those positions. So being able to play different positions is just going to utilize and maximize the talent that you do have.
Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be a little complicated for them, learning these, different positions, even when they're slightly different. Playing nickel versus playing maybe more of a boundary corner or a hybrid spot or a safety. They'll have to learn the nuances. I know something that Cauthen pointed out is like, yeah, it's going to make everybody smarter. Everybody's going to know what they're supposed to do. Everybody's going to be on the same page. If I know what my responsibility and your responsibility is, and as long as there's trust there as well, that's another key. You got to trust them.
Right.
And as long as all that's there, the defense works as a seamless unit, which it absolutely has to. Sometimes even more so than the offense. Because if one, defensive player just doesn't do his job, it completely negates everything that happens on defense sometimes. Whereas offense, sometimes you can get away with it if like one or two guys don't do their job. If it's the right spot on the field. I don't want to get offensive guys too mad at me because they'll say the same thing. Everyone has to do their job.
Yes.
But with defense, they just absolutely have to be seamless. And so, everyone being on the same page and everyone being versatile. And that's a big thing with modern defense, just being versatile. You got to be able to stop the run, and you got to be able to stop the pass.
And you have to be able to present one way, but then shift it maybe later in the game. So you're going to be throwing multiple looks on defense to opposing offenses and confuse the quarterback, confuse the offensive coordinator, and guys who can shift, where they may be on the field for one set and then they shift to a different style and run a different position. You don't have to swap in whole units. You can adjust your personnel on the fly as necessary, which is a huge advantage for a defensive coordinator.
Yeah, and you talk about how Utah State forces teams in awkward situations by, just playing fast, not letting, defensive guys sub out. Defenses have a much better job against Utah State if they're versatile. And again, just with modern football, it's why you're seeing more of a shift toward, you used to talk about that the front seven, you were on a 3-4 or 4-3, and that was the question. But now it's like, well, you can't really run one of those because teams are wanting to move one of those linebackers into a hybrid position. They were calling it striker here under Ephraim Bond. That's just the terminology they were using, and Joe Cauthen has a different term for it. Just call him a sandwich. It's an old linebacker term, but basically it's the guy who's got to be a hybrid between being a linebacker and a safety. He's got to be able to stop the run and play coverage because teams aren't walking out in a pro-style offense where they're, two wide receivers, tight end, fullback, and running back or whatnot. They're having 3 wide receivers out there. Base offenses have 3 wide receivers in them. So you can't run a 3-4 or 4-3 because that doesn't line up well with a 3 wide receiver set. So teams are having to change their base defense to still have enough guys in the box to stop the run, but also have enough guys who can cover to be in the secondary. And again, so having versatile guys at linebacker and at corner and at safety, those are things that you have to have now. And Cauthen is very obviously aware of that and has been coaching, to that effect for several years.
Well, and you have to have the right kind of guy to do that, and the right kind of personnel to accomplish your goals to the best that you would hope you could with your defensive mindset, and seemed to be something that was kind of emphasized in this year's recruiting. You could tell Utah State was going after a different type of athlete at a couple different positions. Secondary is bigger. The defensive front is bigger in a lot of different ways. And I guess he talked to you a little bit about some changing of the body types, the type of players and athleticism that he's looking for at different positions.
There was some size factor into this deal that I wanted. I wanted some longer guys, but I want guys that can run. I mean, it's in this day and time, if you can't run, it's hard to play this game. And this game is becoming faster and faster and faster, and the guys are just getting bigger and bigger. And so we're young and experienced, yes we are, but I do like our athleticism, and now it's our job as a teacher to go out and...
How did it cut off?
Got cut off there. I'm intrigued. What is his job as a teacher now?
I think it was just talking about, it's something we've kind of talked about in the show where it's like I may have brought that up to him where it's like, young guys, they're athletic. You got the talent, now go out and teach them to do their job. I think that was what he was about to go into a little bit. I don't know if it was going to go on much longer, but the general point there is, and it's something that I've brought up before, is just like, okay, they've added talent, they've added length, they've added some size. In the secondary, not so much, physical size. Some of them are a little slight. I think they added a guy out of Oregon. I think it was Vontae Dickerson, I think. He's apparently a guy who's really fast. I didn't know anything about him. He kind of popped up on the roster for media days, just kind of showed up there. Hadn't noticed anything about him, but apparently he's a really fast guy. And so they've added speed and they've added length. And, those are two things you really want to have if you're trying to cover guys. Because the wide receivers these days, they're getting longer and they're getting faster.
Yes.
So the secondary's got to be able to match that. And I think, recruiting-wise, the defense has done well with adding physical traits. And that's definitely one of the positives for, the team in the offseason is in terms of physical traits, they are better than last year. We'll see how they apply those physical traits here in fall camp and as the season gets closer.
Yeah, that is the big question for Utah State. And on the other side of the ball, really, looking at the offense, Kyle Cefalo, he's been a wide receivers coach, and he has followed Blake Anderson a couple different places. Definitely understands his language, understands his philosophy, his mindset, and so he has been elevated as the co-offensive coordinator to assist Blake Anderson in those duties. So Kyle Cefalo will be up in the booth. He'll be removed from the field and be coaching from a higher angle than he was before. But I got a chance to catch up with him and talk to him about the offense this year. And this is an offense that's still trying to figure out its own identity, as he put it.
I think we have a really good plan of who we want to be, but I think, any coach will tell you coming out of the spring and then going into fall camp, you're still creating your identity, especially now in college football with all the transferring, all the kids leaving. I mean, you can't just bank on kids being back next year, kids that you've coached for years and years and started to develop. So as a football team in general, we're trying to create our identity of who we are. We're getting to know each other. Kids are getting to know each other. We've got kids showing up, all summer, and we're all really excited about the new pieces because that's the way college football's changed and rosters get poached, and we just have to continue to can't complain about it. You just go to work and find guys that want to be here, and I think we have a group of kids that want to be here, that want to be successful, and they want us to coach them. So it's, like I said, really excited to, head into fall camp, get this thing going.
So it's interesting, Coach Anderson, we heard him preach, 3 things that he wants to improve upon with the offense: fewer turnovers, faster pace, utilize more weapons. And Cefalo, he mirrored those comments when I spoke to him. But also interesting here, just kind of an inside look. This is a coaching staff that's still trying to figure out what they have. Who do they have, and what can they do with the players that they have at their disposal?
Yeah, it was interesting because, just with Anderson, Cefalo, and Cauthen, it's like they all just admit it's like, hey, we kind of don't know. We haven't seen half these guys practice. We've seen a little bit of them in film. We recruited them, and they're not unknowns because usually they're working with their own connections and finding guys that they had gotten in contact with maybe when they were recruiting in high school, and now they're getting back in touch with them when they're transferring. So it's not like they're completely unknowns, but they haven't watched them practice in front of them. Most of the guys who are transfers who may end up being contributors weren't around in spring ball. So now they've gotten a few practices under their belt, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So, 4 practices in, but that's a long way to go.
Yes, scrimmage on Saturday at 11 o'clock, and that will be interesting. For the first time for this season, even dating back to spring ball, this is the first time we've seen a full complement of Utah State football players on offense and defense going at each other with the new style on defense, a little bit different wrinkle on offense, and see what the early returns are on that. So we'll hear more from those coaches and maybe from one of the players, too, if we can sneak one in. Coming up next here on the Full Court Press.
How many years has it been since you were married? 1 year? 10 years? Longer? This is Jarek from Jarek's Fine Jewelry. No matter how many years it's been, you always remember just how you felt. Show her you love her all over again with something special from Jarek's. We can help you surprise her or bring her in and you can pick it out together. Maybe it's restyling the old ring or upgrading to a larger diamond that she just may have hinted about. No matter how many years it's been, let us help make it special on your anniversary.
Jarek's Fine Jewelry. Make it special, make it Jarek's.
This is Ryan at My Mattress. We have some surprising but awesome news to announce. Purple, the rocket ship in the mattress industry, has purchased IntelliBed, the best mattress in the industry. We could not be more excited. The beds have yet to arrive, but we flew out with Purple, and seriously, this new IntelliBed Purple lineup, it is immaculate. We have the whole Purple lineup and the IntelliBed Purple lineup. Isn't it time to sleep exceptionally? Only at My Mattress, now partnered with IntelliBed Purple.
Cherry Peak Resort Summer Concert Series is bigger than ever. Joe Nichols, August 12th for an unforgettable evening.
Good day for living. Give me that smile and I'm somewhere sunny and 75. Down in Broken Hartsville.
Joe Nichols with special guest Charlie Jenkins.
Sometimes that mountain doesn't move.
August 12th. Visit skicpr.com for your summer concert series tickets at Cherry Peak Resort.
We built this city.
Cherry Peak Resort Summer Concert Series is bigger than ever. Starship Live. August 18th. Under the Stars. On Utah's best outdoor concert stage. Get your tickets today for Starship, August 18th. Visit skicpr.com for your summer concert series tickets at Cherry Peak Resort.
With inflation at record highs, why buy new if you can repair your current machine? Daryl's Appliances factory-trained technicians spend hundreds of hours in training each year to ensure your appliance is repaired right the first time. You can have peace of mind. They offer no-risk service, meaning if you want to purchase new, instead of repair, you can apply up to $95 of your service call towards an appliance purchase. See store for details. Daryl's West on Airport Road, open until 6 p.m. on weekdays, 5 on Saturday.
Join the show by calling 435-752-1069 or text 435-339-0321. It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Yes, I'm Eric Frandsen. He's Jason Walker. He's dancing to the music over there. We really need to get cameras in here.
I was about to try and throw Jason in the other studio off, though I realized that would be kind of mean because he is in the middle of asking someone a question. So he's doing an interview right now.
Some important statewide politician in there.
Yeah, so I figure maybe I shouldn't mess him up in the middle of his show. I did get his attention, though, for a second. But then I stopped because I don't want to make him laugh because then he has to explain why he's laughing.
Yeah. His audience wouldn't get it.
No, so it's a little unprofessional of me, but who am I except unprofessional?
That's right. 435-339-0321. If you want to chime in, we've heard from Joe Cauthen. We've heard from Kyle Cefalo about Utah State getting ready for this upcoming season. Fall camp is underway. Another person I got a chance to catch up with at Media Day the other day was Colby Bowman, new wide receiver who came from Stanford. And Stanford's been in the news a little bit lately. Yes. What are their next moves?
Especially today, although, this is from Friday or Thursday.
But he's a newcomer to Utah State. He played at wide receiver at Stanford. He's going to do the same here. And got a chance to get caught up with him and find out about why he chose USU, why his jersey number, and a few other things about what he's observed so far about the Aggies. Colby Bowman's wide receiver for Utah State, transfer from Stanford, but trying to make his way here in Logan, which is awesome. So let's. I just want to start out trying to get to know you. So, what was it that attracted you to make that shift to leave Stanford and come to USU?
Honestly, I got my degree there, and then it's tough to get into a master's program there. So I didn't want to do a master's in sustainability or whatever. So I came here. I could do my MBA, so it was just really attractive to me. In all honesty, like this was my only offer coming out of when I was in the portal, so it all worked out perfectly fine. Well, I was literally about to head back to Stanford, take my name out of the portal and whatnot, but I'm not kidding. A couple hours before, Coach Anderson hit me up, and then on Twitter and whatnot. So it all worked out great.
Wow,
yeah,
that's cool. So when did you arrive on campus at USU?
I got here 3 days before spring ball, so whatever date that was. So it was a quick transition.
Yeah. So what was that like then, just acclimating to the offensive style, not only just like the campus and everything else, but you arrive on campus and boom, you're right into football with Utah State, trying to figure out that offense. What was that like for you just initially?
Yeah, no, it's a handful. I mean, it's a completely different offense than Stanford was. Stanford was obviously a pro-style offense. You huddle up after every single play. This is rapid fire. You go as fast as you can. It's all signals. So, I mean, it took some getting used to, but after you've played football for so many years, you've kind of it just becomes second nature and whatnot. So, as far as weather, I'm an Orange County boy, so I have never had to shovel snow off my car and whatnot. So it was pretty crazy to get used to, but within a week I was acclimated and it was all good. So, no complaints at all.
Yeah, you came in right in the middle of the record one. So,
exactly.
The coach talks about wanting to use a lot more pace, and that's something obviously you're trying to acclimate to, but and utilize the weapons for the offense as he's going to take a larger role as an offensive coordinator. How do you feel like you fit into that based on your experience, your abilities to kind of help this offense move and go to that next level?
Yeah, no, I think I fit in great. We have the receiver room is solid. I mean, it's a super solid receiver room, and it's competitive and whatnot. And we push ourselves every single day, and each person has their own individual talents that they have. But when it all comes together and we all mold together, it's going to be a special unit this year for sure. And no, I'm excited. And obviously, Coach Steph and Coach Anderson, they're not scared to take shots at all. Coach Steph's always drawing up plays and 7-on-7 and whatnot, just messing around with us. But I'm super excited for this season. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
How do you feel like your skills kind of like? What's an ideal situation for you? Like, where do you particularly like to line up? How do you like to just your role as a wide receiver? How do you feel like you're at your best?
No, I mean, I'm cool with anything. Our splits are pretty wide out there, so it's taken some getting used to just because you have a lot less room to work with. But when it comes to motioning and setting up in a stack and whatnot, I find everything. There's nothing really that I can complain about. I figure that I feel like my skill set's pretty well rounded. Obviously, a big part of my game is my speed and whatnot, stepping on toes on a DB and having a big post or whatnot. But I think Coach Steph and Coach Anderson know how to utilize each person's skill set to their best ability.
There's a lot of uncertainty going on in college football right now, especially with your old home with Stanford.
Yeah.
I mean, any insights on how you feel about what might happen to the Pac-12 in the future?
I don't know. That conference I feel like might get depleted. Obviously, with USC and UCLA already headed to they're going to the Big Ten or whatever. Yeah. And then Colorado just announced the Big 12, so I'm not too sure. I think there'll always be a Pac-12. I don't know, it might be back to the Pac-10 or whatever, but I think if they were to pull from a conference, it'd be the Mountain West. I think they'd go after the Boise States, the SDSU. They could even come after us, So it's interesting in college football. It's a whole new world with the transfer portal and NIL. It is it's a crazy thing, and people are getting adapted to it, and there still needs to be probably some new rules going to be put in place, but other than that, like I said, it's interesting what's going on right now.
Last question for me, just generally, like your jersey number. Did you have any say in picking your number, and if so, is there any history behind that?
So I've worn 9 my whole life, and that's but obviously K9 has that, Kyle has that. So and you have to respect it. You have to respect the elders that have come before you and whatnot. So you got to respect that. But no, I came on a visit, and they just said, "Hey, here's the available numbers," and I know 8 has been a pretty special number here at receiver, so I'm hoping to carry on that legacy to my best ability, and I'm looking forward to it. So I'm super excited for that.
Very cool. Colby Bowman, wide receiver for Utah State. Thanks so much. Good luck.
Of course. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I was super impressed with Colby Bowman. Excited to see what he does in an Aggie uniform, and we'll see first glimpses of that in the scrimmage coming up on Saturday. At least we hope he plays, and he should. Looked healthy. From all accounts, he should be good to go. So we'll like to see how that wide receiver core comes together for USU. Another quick timeout here in the Full Court Press and some additional thoughts as we close out the hour.
Vacations are just around the corner, as is the hot weather. This is Dustin with Valvoline and Snow Oil Change in Logan. Get your vehicle's oil change before you head out on that epic vacation. While you're here, we can recharge your AC so you're not melting in a hot car. Stay in your car while our trained pros service your vehicle. Valvoline Instant Oil Change, 695 North Main in Logan, across from Angie's. Also, we're so busy, we need some more help. Stop in and apply to work with us today. We offer bonuses and benefits after 90 days.
A rule of thumb is if your air ducts look dirty, they probably are. Dirty ducts should be cleaned by a certified professional like John Hansen of the Duct Hunter. In a typical 6-room home, up to 40 pounds of dust, contaminants, and air pollutants are created annually, and this builds up in the ductwork. Dirty ducts may be contributing to large health issues that can cause serious problems with people with respiratory health conditions, autoimmune disorders, or allergies. Don't risk it. Give the Duct Hunter a call, 770-4813, to clean out the dirty ducts in your home.
Saturday, August 12th on Compass Media Network's coverage of the NFL. The 2023 season gets underway as the Cowboys and Jaguars kick off the preseason. Hi, this is Jerry Recco. Join Kevin Ray, Danny White, and myself for all the action as Dak Prescott and the Cowboys square off with Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars. Football is back. It's the Dallas Cowboys and the Jacksonville Jaguars. If it's the NFL, it's right here.
Pre-game begins at 2:30 Saturday afternoon on Fox Sports Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan.
It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Streaming on 1069thefan.com. Also on the 1069 The Fan mobile app. You can go back and listen to past episodes, individual interviews, a whole lot more. If you want to go back and listen to us discuss the various top 25 Aggies for 2023, up to number 15, which was revealed today, you can do that as well on our podcast, or anywhere you find podcasts, where you make it easy, just go find it on our website. Also, the interviews that we've done with the head football coaches for the high schools, too. So, last couple minutes here on the show, we've talked about FIBA World Cup. It's not that far away for basketball. I know we have the FIFA World Cup for women's soccer, which is going on. We also have the FIBA World Cup for international basketball, which is right around the corner. And these teams are starting to assemble, and they've scrimmaged, they've practiced. They're starting to have a few more games, some friendlies, if you will. Lowry Markkanen with Finland participated in a game against Lithuania. I understand that Team USA may have a game here soon.
Yeah, they're going to play some kind of tune-up games. A lot of teams are going to be playing some friendlies and showcase-type things before I think August 26th is when the United States plays their first game. So Team USA, I believe it is the FIBA roster, they're playing against Puerto Rico tonight in Las Vegas. If you can run really fast, maybe you can get there by 8 o'clock is when it starts. 8 o'clock Mountain Time. So on FS1, you can watch it. Walker Kessler will be playing. Probably not going to be in the starting lineup. I think Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to get the nod as the starting center.
And he's getting a lot of praise for how he's approached this competition.
Yeah, so you're going to have pretty good center lineup there with Kessler and Jaren Jackson Jr. there. So Team USA should roll pretty easily. So you can maybe watch Walker Kessler dunk on some poor, unsuspecting Puerto Ricans, I guess. It's just how it is. Team USA is just better.
and it's broadcast nationally. You said FS1?
Yeah, FS1. They're going to play about 5 games over the next 10 days. Is just kind of a get rolling, and they're going to be either on FS1 or Fox. It kind of goes between the two. They're going to play in Vegas, then they're going to play in Malaga, Spain, and then Abu Dhabi for some reason.
That's where they will play.
Yeah, where they will play. So they're going to play in 3 different places across the world. But tonight they're going to be in Vegas.
Well, this is the power of Team USA.
Yeah. They will play Spain in one of those games. But they will not be playing the United Arab Emirates when they go to Abu Dhabi.
Okay.
They'll play Greece and Germany.
Well, those could be interesting showdowns, interesting games to be played. We mentioned Lowry Markkanen. He played Finland, played against Lithuania. He poured in 24 points to lead his team. And Finland won 81-79. So Lithuania, that's not a slouch country when it comes to basketball.
Yeah, and we got plenty of Jazz players that are tied up. Jordan Clarkson with the Philippines, Walker Kessler, Lauri Markkanen, Simone Fontecchio, and I forgot somebody. There's 5 of them, and I think I only named 4.
Jordan Clarkson for the Philippines.
I mentioned Jordan, so I got Clarkson, Markkanen, Fontecchio, Kessler.
Oh, Kelly Olynyk for
Olynyk,
Canada.
yeah, Olynyk in Canada. I always forget about the Canadians.
That Canadian team looks to be pretty formidable, though.
Yeah,
I don't
they
think
are.
anybody should sleep on them.
Yeah, Canada and Australia really ascendant.
Yes. So this will not be an easy competition for Team USA. There's some absolutely some really good basketball being played internationally. And I think that's what we're seeing with women's soccer too. Unfortunately, that the women's game is improving internationally, with Team USA losing in a shootout to Sweden over the weekend.
Yeah, not fun.
No. So more on that, and we'll hear more from the players and the coaches for Utah State football. We'll hear more from the high school football coaches as well as we continue to count down and get close to the start of high school football on Friday nights. Have a great night, everybody.